The sky over Earth's capital city was filled with a strange sight. A huge spaceship, bigger than any building, slowly came down from the clouds. It was not like anything people had ever seen before. The metal shone with a soft blue light, and strange symbols glowed on its surface. This was the ship of the Xyrath Dominion, a powerful alien race that had traveled across many stars to reach Earth. People on the ground watched in silence and wonder. The world had been waiting for this moment for many years. After decades of fighting and fear, the leaders of Earth and the Xyrath had finally agreed to meet. They hoped to make peace and avoid a terrible war. In the crowd of soldiers and officials stood a young man named Eli Turner. Eli was only 19 years old, the youngest soldier in Earth's Defense Force. He was short for a soldier, with messy brown hair and bright green eyes that seemed to look at everything with quiet curiosity. Eli did not speak much, but he worked hard and believed in protecting his home. As the alien ship landed, a loud hum filled the air. The ramp slowly lowered, and figures began to step out. Among them was the Xyrath Princess Aelira. She was tall and graceful, with skin that shimmered like silver in the sunlight. Her eyes were deep blue and seemed to shine with intelligence and power. All eyes turned to her as she walked down the ramp. Then, something unexpected happened. Princess Aelira's gaze moved across the crowd and she pointed at Eli. The soldiers around him whispered and stared in shock. Why had the alien princess chosen the youngest human soldier? Eli felt his heart beat faster. He did not understand why she looked at him like that. Was it danger? Or something else? The commander of the Earth forces quickly stepped forward and bowed to the princess. "Welcome to Earth, Princess Aelira," he said in a strong voice. "We are honored by your presence." Aelira nodded but did not look away from Eli. Instead, she smiled softly, a smile that seemed to hold a secret. "That human will be mine," she said quietly, so only a few near her could hear. Eli looked around, confused and a little scared. What did she mean? Why would an alien princess want him? As the ceremony continued, Eli could not take his eyes off Aelira. She moved with grace and confidence, but her eyes always seemed to find him. After the crowd began to disperse, Eli stayed, behind, thinking about the strange moment. He wondered what this meeting would bring for him and for the whole world. Little did he know, his life was about to change forever. After the big ceremony, the city slowly returned to its usual busy life. But Eli Turner could not forget the moment when Princess Aelira pointed at him. It was like a strange dream he could not wake up from. Days passed, but the memory stayed strong in his mind. He kept asking himself, why me? Why would a princess from a powerful alien race choose a young, quiet soldier like him? One morning, Eli was called to the military headquarters. His heart pounded as he walked through the tall doors. Inside, the commander waited for him, looking serious. "Private Turner," the commander said, "Princess Aelira has requested a meeting with you. You are to go to the Xyrath ship immediately. This is a rare opportunity. Be ready." Eli nodded, feeling both nervous and curious. He never expected such a thing to happen to him. He quickly prepared and was escorted to the massive alien ship. The inside of the ship was unlike anything Eli had seen. The walls glowed softly with colors that changed like the sky at sunset. The air smelled fresh and cool. He was led down long hallways until he reached a large room where Princess Aelira waited. She stood tall, her silver skin shimmering under the soft light. Her deep blue eyes looked at him with calm and kindness. "Private Turner," she said with a gentle voice. "Thank you for coming." Eli bowed slightly. "Princess Aelira, I am honored." Aelira smiled. "I know this is strange for you. You are young and from a world very different from mine. But I have watched you. You have something special, something rare." Eli blinked, unsure what to say. "You humans have strength that goes beyond muscle or weapons. You have courage, hope, and the will to keep going even when things are hard," Aelira continued. "Our people face great danger from those who want to start war. I believe you can help stop it." Eli listened carefully. He had never thought of himself as important, just a small part of a big army. But now a princess was telling him he could make a difference. "Why me?" Eli asked quietly. "Because you are pure in heart," Elira replied, "and because I see the future of our worlds in you." Eli felt a strange warmth inside. He did not fully understand, but he wanted to trust her. For the first time he saw that this meeting was more than politics. It was a chance to build something new, a friendship, maybe even a bond between two very different people. Elira stood and offered her hand. "Walk with me, Eli. There is much to learn and much to do." Eli took her hand and felt a new strength growing inside him. The journey ahead would be difficult and full of unknown dangers, but he was ready to face it. Together, the human soldier and the alien princess stepped into a future that no one could have imagined, a future where the smallest person might change the fate of many worlds. Eli walked beside Princess Elira through the glowing halls of the Zyrath ship. The light around them changed colors softly, making everything feel calm and strange at the same time. Eli tried to hide his nervousness, but his heart was beating fast. "Eli," Elira said quietly, "I want you to understand something important. Our worlds are very different, but I believe we can work together to stop a great danger." Eli looked at her, waiting for her to explain. "The Zyrath Dominion is not united," Elira continued. "Many of my people want to fight Earth, to take your planet by force. They do not trust humans. But I want peace. I want to protect both our peoples." Eli nodded slowly. "That sounds very hard. How can I help?" Elira's eyes grew serious. "You have something my people do not always see, the will to keep going even when everything seems lost. That is why I chose you." Eli felt proud but also worried. "I'm just a soldier. What can I do against so many?" "You have courage, and courage can change the course of history," Elira said. "I need you to be my ally. We will face enemies who want war. But if we stand together, we can stop them." Eli thought about Earth, about his family, and about the people who trusted him. He knew this was bigger than himself. "I will help." "You," Eli said firmly. Elira smiled, a small warm smile. "Good. We must prepare, but first you should see more of our world." She led him to a large window that looked out into space. Thousands of stars shone, and nearby other ships moved like shining birds. "This is just one part of the Dominion," Elira explained. "Our home is a place of beauty and danger. Many worlds depend on us." Eli stared at the stars and felt small but hopeful. He thought about how one human soldier could make a difference in such a vast universe. Suddenly, an alarm sounded through the ship. Red lights flashed, and a deep voice spoke in the Zyrath language. Elira's face changed. "They have found us," she said quickly. "A group from the war faction is coming to stop our plan." Eli's heart jumped. "What will we do?" "We must act fast," Elira said. "I will need your help to protect the peace." They hurried to the ship's control room where soldiers prepared for battle. Eli saw humans and Zyrath working side by side, ready to defend against the attackers. The door opened, and the first enemy fighters appeared. Eli grabbed his weapon, feeling fear but also a new strength. As the fight began, Eli realized this was only the start of something much bigger. The war for peace would be dangerous, but he was no longer just a soldier. He was a key player in the future of two worlds, and Princess Elira was right by his side. The battle inside the Zyrath ship was fierce. Eli stood beside Princess Elira, firing his weapon at the attackers who tried to break through the defenses. The sounds of laser blasts and alarms filled the air, but Eli kept his focus. He was no longer just a young soldier. He was a protector of a fragile peace. Elira moved gracefully among the fighters, giving orders and fighting when she needed to. Her presence gave the soldiers hope. Eli felt proud to stand next to her. After what felt like hours, the enemy fighters were pushed back. The ship's alarm stopped and the red lights changed back to calm blue. The crew cheered quietly, knowing the danger had passed. For now. Eli wiped sweat from his brow and looked at Alira. That was close. She nodded, her eyes serious. This is only the beginning. The war faction will not give up easily. They want to control the Dominion by force. Eli took a deep breath. What can we do to stop them? We need to show both our people that peace is stronger than war, Alira said. That will take courage and it will take trust. Eli thought about the soldiers who had fought beside him, humans and Xyrath alike. Maybe trust was possible. That night, Eli and Alira met in a quiet room on the ship. The stars outside twinkled like tiny fires. Alira spoke softly. Eli, I want you to understand something important. You are more than a soldier now. You are a symbol of hope, of courage, of what can happen when two worlds work together. Eli looked down. I'm not sure I'm ready. You are ready because you have the heart, she said kindly, and I will help you every step of the way. Eli felt a new strength growing inside him. The princess's words made him believe that maybe, just maybe, he could be the person to change the future. Over the next days, Eli trained with the Xyrath soldiers. He learned new skills, new ways of fighting, and new ways of thinking. The Xyrath were strong and fast, but humans had something else, creativity and determination. One evening, as Eli practiced in the training yard, Alira approached him. You are improving quickly, she said with a small smile. Eli laughed. I have a good teacher. They looked at each other for a moment. The air between them was full of hope and something more, a bond growing stronger every day. But danger was never far away. One morning, a messenger arrived. With urgent news, the war faction was moving closer to Earth. They planned a surprise attack. Eli and Alira knew they had to act fast to protect their people. The fight for peace was far from over. Together, they prepared to face the coming storm, ready to show the universe the strength of humanity and the power of unity. The warning came early in the morning. Eli was still waking up when the ship's alarm blared loudly through the halls. Red lights flashed, and soldiers hurried to their stations. The war faction was moving closer to Earth, and their attack would come soon. Eli dressed quickly and joined Princess Alira in the command center. The room was filled with commanders, both human and Xyrath, who studied maps and data on glowing screens. We cannot let them reach Earth, Alira said firmly. If they take control, war will be unavoidable. Eli looked at the map showing enemy ships approaching fast. What can we do? We must strike first, Alira answered. We will send a small team to stop their fleet before they get near Earth. I want you to lead the mission. Eli felt a mix of fear and pride. Leading a team was a big responsibility for someone so young. But he remembered her words, that courage can change history. I won't let you down, he said. Alira smiled. I know you won't. The team was ready quickly. Eli's group included some of the best human and Xyrath soldiers. They boarded small, fast ships and prepared to jump into space. As they entered the dark emptiness, Eli looked out at the stars. He felt the weight of their mission. This was more than a battle. It was a fight for peace. The enemy fleet was larger than Eli expected. Ships filled the black sky like a storm of fire. The war faction had come with full force. Eli's ship moved quickly, weaving through enemy fighters. He gave orders calmly, remembering his training. Keep formation, he said. Focus on the command ship. If we take it down, their fleet will lose control. The battle was fierce. Lasers flashed. Engines roared and ships exploded in bursts of light. Eli fired his weapon and helped the pilot stay safe. His heart raced, but he stayed steady. Finally, they reached the enemy command ship. It was huge and heavily guarded. Eli's team launched a surprise attack, breaking through the defenses. Inside, Eli led a group to disable the ship's controls. They fought against enemy soldiers, their weapons clashing in tight corridors. Eli felt his strength and courage growing with every step. He was not just a young soldier anymore. He was a leader, fighting for two worlds. After a long fight, they Succeeded. The command ship's systems shut down and the enemy fleet began to lose power. Outside, the remaining ships turned back, retreating into the darkness of space. Eli and his team returned to the Zirath ship as heroes, but Eli knew the fight was not over. Princess Elira met him with a proud smile. "You did well, Eli. You have shown what humans can do." Eli felt a new hope inside him. The war faction might be strong, but together, humans and Zirath could be stronger. This victory was only the beginning of a long road, a road toward peace, friendship, and a future where two worlds could stand united. The victory against the war faction's fleet brought a moment of calm, but Eli knew it was only temporary. The war faction was strong, and many in the Zirath Dominion still did not trust humans. Eli felt the weight of that distrust every day. After the battle, Eli was invited to a special meeting with Princess Elira and some of her closest advisors. The room was large and filled with holographic maps and glowing symbols. Eli could feel the importance of this gathering. "We have stopped their attack for now," Elira said, her voice steady. "But the war faction is still dangerous. They have spies and supporters even here, on the Dominion's homeworlds." One of the advisors, a tall Zirath with sharp eyes, spoke. "If we want peace, we must act carefully. The war faction will try again, and they will try to make your people doubt you, Eli." Eli looked around the room. He felt the eyes of humans and Zirath on him. This was not just about fighting enemies with weapons, it was about winning hearts and minds. "I understand," Eli said. "We need to show everyone that humans and Zirath can work together." Elira nodded. "Exactly. We will start a Q mission to bring our peoples closer. I want you to lead a team that visits different worlds. You will speak to leaders, learn about their cultures, and find ways to build trust." Eli felt a new challenge ahead. Traveling through the Dominion, meeting new people, and proving that humans could be friends, it was a big task. Over the next few days, Eli prepared for the mission. He trained with diplomats, learned about different Zirath worlds, and studied languages. The soldiers who had fought with him became his friends and allies. When the day came to leave, Elira gave Eli a small pendant, a symbol of her trust and hope. "This is more than a gift," she said softly. "It is a promise. We believe in you." Eli felt a warmth in his chest. He promised himself he would not let her down. The team's ships soared through space, visiting one world after another. Each place was different. Some were beautiful and peaceful, others tense and fearful of war. Eli listened to the people's stories. He shared Earth's hopes for peace and told of his friendship with Elira. Slowly, he saw walls begin to break down, but not everyone was ready to trust. On one planet, a group of warriors challenged Eli and his team, accusing humans of being weak and untrustworthy. Eli stood tall and spoke calmly. "Strength is not just about power. It is about courage, loyalty, and the will to protect others. Humans have these qualities, and so do the Zirath." His words surprised many. Some began to see that maybe peace was possible. Back on the ship, Elira sent messages of support. She believed in Eli's mission and waited for his return. Eli felt changed. He was no longer just a soldier or a symbol. He was a bridge between two worlds. But deep inside, he knew the war faction was still watching, waiting for a chance to destroy what they were building. The road ahead was long and the future uncertain. But Eli was ready to walk it, one step at a time. After weeks of traveling through the stars, Eli and his team finally returned to the Zirath Dominion's homeworld. The mission had been difficult, but Eli felt proud. He had spoken to many leaders and helped build trust between humans and Zirath. Still, the shadow of the war faction hung over everything. Princess Elira greeted them with a warm smile. "You have done well, Eli. Your courage and words have opened doors." Eli smiled back, but inside he felt the weight of the battles still to come. "Thank you, Princess, but I know the fight is not over." Elira nodded. "No, it is not. The war faction grows stronger. They will not give up easily." That evening, Eli was invited to a special council meeting. The room was filled with important leaders from both humans and Zirath. The air was tense. Illyra stood and spoke first. We face a choice. We can continue to build peace, or we can fall into war. One of the council members, a stern human general, said, "We must be ready to defend Earth if war comes." Another, a Zyrath elder, said, "We must show strength but also wisdom." Eli listened carefully. He wanted to speak, but he knew this was not just a battle of weapons. It was a battle of hearts. Finally, Eli stood. "I have traveled many worlds. I have seen fear, but I have also seen hope. War will bring destruction to all of us, but peace can bring strength beyond any weapon." The room fell silent. Eli's words were simple, but they carried power. Illyra smiled proudly. "Eli is right. We must stand together, not against each other." Suddenly, alarms blared. The doors to the council room opened, and soldiers rushed in. "We have bad news," one officer said. "The war faction has launched a surprise attack on a key outpost near Earth." Illyra's face grew serious. "This is the moment we feared." Eli felt his heart race. He was ready. "We must go and defend it." Together, Eli, Illyra, and the council leaders prepared for battle. Humans and Zyrath worked side by side, united by hope and courage. As their ships flew toward the outpost, Eli looked at the stars and thought about the journey so far. He had grown from a young soldier to a leader, and he had learned that strength was not just in weapons, but in trust and friendship. The fight ahead would be the hardest yet, but Eli knew they were not alone. Together they could face any enemy. The battle for peace was only beginning. The space around the outpost was filled with the bright flashes of laser fire. Ships from the war faction swarmed like angry bees, attacking with fierce speed. Eli stood at the front of the battle, his hand steady on the controls of his fighter ship. Princess Illyra flew close beside him, her face calm but determined. "Stay focused, Eli. We cannot let them break through." Eli nodded. His heart was pounding, but he kept his eyes sharp. This fight was not just for the outpost, it was for the future of both their worlds. The war faction ships were strong and well-armed. They attacked in waves, trying to overwhelm the defenders. But the humans in Zyrath fought back with skill and courage. Eli weaved his ship through enemy fire, firing back and protecting his teammates. Every move counted. The battle was like a deadly dance in the stars. Suddenly, Eli spotted the enemy's leadership, larger and more dangerous than the rest. "That's their command ship," he said over the radio. "If we take it down, their forces might retreat." Illyra's voice came quickly. "We'll do it together. Follow my lead." They moved as one, weaving through enemy fire to reach the command ship. Eli's hands flew over the controls, his mind sharp with focus. As they got closer, enemy fighters swarmed to defend their leader. Eli and Illyra fought side by side, protecting each other as they pushed forward. Inside the command ship, the battle was even more dangerous. Eli led a small team of soldiers in a daring attack to disable the ship's controls. The hallways were tight, and enemy soldiers attacked from every side. Eli felt his heart race, but he kept moving. He thought of Earth, of Illyra, and of the hope they shared. Finally, they reached the control room. Eli worked quickly, shutting down the systems. The enemy ship shuddered and lost power. Outside, the war faction's fleet began to slow and turn away. Eli's team escaped just before the command ship exploded in a bright flash. Back at the outpost, the defenders cheered. The attack had been stopped. Illyra turned to Eli, her eyes shining. "You were brave. You saved many lives today." Eli smiled, feeling a deep pride. "We did it together, humans and Zyrath." The battle was over, but Eli knew the war faction was not finished. They would return. But now, more than ever, humans and Zyrath stood united. The fight for peace had become a true fight, a fight that showed the power of trust, courage, and friendship. As the stars shone above them, Eli felt ready for whatever came next. The future was still uncertain, but he was no longer afraid. Together, they would face it, side by side. The victory at the outpost gave hope, but Eli knew the war faction was still dangerous. Back on the Zerath homeworld, the leaders gathered once again. This time, the room was filled with tension and fear. "War is coming," said a human general, his voice heavy with worry. "We must prepare Earth's defenses." Elira stood tall. "We want peace, but we will fight to protect it." Eli watched the faces in the room. Some were angry, some afraid, and some unsure. He felt a strong urge to speak. He stood and looked around. "I have seen what war can do. I have fought in battles, and I know it brings pain and loss. But I also know that peace is possible if we stand together." A murmur spread through the room. "Humans and Zerath have different ways, but we share hope and courage," Eli continued. "If we fight only with weapons, we will lose what makes us strong, trust, and friendship." Elira smiled and nodded. "Eli speaks wisely. War is not the only answer. We must show strength through unity." Suddenly, a messenger arrived with urgent news. The war faction had launched a massive attack near a vital trade route. If they succeed, it could cut off supplies and bring chaos. Eli and Elira looked at each other, understanding the danger. "We cannot let this happen," Elira said. "We must act now." Eli felt the weight of responsibility. He was ready to lead. Again, the team gathered quickly. Humans and Zerath prepared their ships and weapons, ready to defend what they had built. As they flew toward the battle zone, Eli thought about everything he had learned. Strength was not only in weapons, but in the will to protect others and to believe in a better future. The fight was fierce. Enemy ships attacked with speed and power, but the defenders fought with determination. Eli led the charge, using his knowledge of the enemy and his quick thinking to outmaneuver the attackers. In the heat of battle, Eli saw soldiers from both sides risking their lives for each other. It was a clear sign that unity was growing stronger. After hours of fighting, the enemy fleet began to retreat. Back at the command center, Eli and Elira watched the stars, knowing the fight was not over. "But every battle we win brings us closer to peace," Eli said. Elira took his hand. "And I believe in that future, and because of you." Eli smiled, feeling hope stronger than ever. The war faction was powerful, but the human spirit and the courage of the Zerath were stronger. Together, they would face whatever challenges came. Together, they would build a new dawn. The final battle was near. The war faction gathered their forces for one last attempt to take control. The sky above Earth darkened with countless ships ready to strike. Eli stood on the bridge of the command ship, looking out at the armada. Beside him, Princess Elira was calm but focused. "This is our moment," she said softly. "We fight not just for ourselves, but for all who believe in peace." Eli nodded. "We've come far. We won't let fear or hate win." The ships moved forward, and the battle began. Explosions lit the darkness, and laser fire filled the space between ships. The fight was fierce, louder, and more dangerous than ever before. Eli led the human and Zerath forces with skill and courage. His years of training and experience showed in every decision. He moved quickly, giving orders and inspiring those around him. The war faction's ships were strong, but they did not have the unity that Eli and Elira's forces shared. Humans and Zerath fought as one, trusting each other, protecting each other. In the middle of the battle, Eli's ship was hit. The controls sparked and alarms blared. "Hold on," Eli said, steadying himself. He worked fast, fixing the damage while still fighting off enemy fighters. Elira's voice came over the radio. "We are almost there. Keep going, Eli." With a final push, Eli led the charge to the enemy flagship. The ship was huge, glowing with strange power. Eli and Elira's team boarded the enemy ship, fighting through halls filled with danger. They worked together, humans and Zerath side by side, until they reached the control room. There, Eli disabled the enemy's main systems, shutting down their weapons and engines. The flagship went dark, and the war faction's fleet lost its strength. Outside, the remaining enemy ships began to retreat. The battle was over. Back on the command ship, Eli and Elira stood together looking out at the stars. "We did it," Eli said quietly. Elira smiled, her eyes shining. "Yes, together." The war was finished, but a new era was beginning. Humans and Xyrath would work side by side to rebuild their worlds and create peace. Eli looked at Elira and felt something more than friendship growing between them. It was a bond built on respect, courage, and hope. For the first time in a long while, Eli believed in the future. A future where two very different worlds could live together in harmony. A future where even the youngest soldier could change the course of history. That human, Eli Turner, had become a symbol of hope, and Princess Elira knew that choosing him was the best decision she had ever made.